Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Back with another of the top 10 crypto news articles of the day for you. Before we get started, thanks to all those who have subscribed. It really does mean a lot to me, especially in this day and age. And if you're listening on the podcast, I discovered that depending on what platform you're listening on, the links down in the description, which are neatly done in my YouTube videos, sometimes are nice and sometimes are just a big ball of blah. So going forward, I'm just going to simplify things down on the podcast and just have a link to the YouTube video for the day, because that will have everything for you. You can follow the link to that and see all the articles in the description there. So let's hop on into things. I don't know if y'all noticed, because I didn't. It seems like a lot of the news articles were sleeping on it, or I didn't get the news alerts, but Algorand got listed on Coinbase, and it's up about 31%. So if you hold an Algorand, good for you. So this news site's got a lot of ads. Jesus. Alrighty. Algorand, a fast-growing cryptocurrency that provides a foundation for existing businesses and new projects to operate globally, had its market cap hitting an all-time new high after this sudden Coinbase listing sparked the third strongest day of trade in the coin's history. Nice. Algorand is currently trading at almost 36 cents, up 31% in less than an hour. It's more than tripled in price since March during what they're calling Black Thursday. Okay. Reports obtained from shows, not the best, shows the fast-growing crypto asset will now be available to all Coinbase customers: buy, sell, convert, send, receive, or store. Yeah. So Algorand began in June of last year, so it's just over a year old. The crypto asset provides a foundation for existing businesses and new projects to operate globally in the emerging decentralized economy. Its permissionless pure proof-of-stake protocol supports the scale, open participation, and transaction finality required to build scalable blockchain projects. I mean, this reads more like a press release than a news article, but, what do I know? But either way, it's really good for Algorand and for all those who hold Algorand, and it's good for Coinbase, I guess. I mean, don't really care about them, but care about you guys. And if you're able to profit off Algorand and it getting listed on Coinbase, nice 31%, good for you. It's it's rough out there, so any money you can get coming in is good these days. So that's really all I got to say about that. I expect we'll be starting to talk about Algorand here more in the future as it becomes more and more mainstream and more articles about it get trending. But for now, let's hop over to number 2, talk about some VeChain. So VeChain's Sunny Liu, oh yeah. So he did an AMA with Binance US. Sunny Liu gave some interesting insights into VeChain's goals and adoption progress. For those of you who don't know, Sunny Liu is the CEO of VeChain. So, as a first goal, just a first goal, he declared 1 million daily transactions on the blockchain a small but significant success. Currently, the daily number of transactions is just over a tenth of that. He also went on to say, nowadays there are averagely 100,000 pay transactions on VeChain Thor from different business users, mostly from enterprise users in multiple different territories like fashion, food safety, sustainability, in a lot of different cases. I would have considered a small success in the near future when the number could hit like 1 million transactions per day. For sure, we're not going to stop there. There's no reason for a much bigger success. So, ultimately, VeChain's success will depend on the number of transactions on the VeChain Thor blockchain. At the same time, he expressed his confidence that one day everybody could use VeChain's technology without even knowing it. As Liu emphasized, it is critical that business developers also develop applications on the VeChain Thor blockchain to help the ecosystem thrive. So yeah, there's an AMA out there. If you're a big VeChain follower, I would Google Sunny Liu VeChain AMA and go check it out. There's probably a lot more in there than what I'm going to talk about in this little article, and I highly recommend anyone who's considering VeChain, do your own research, hear it from the horse's mouth. And then you can pop down into the comments and read other articles that dispute things and learn a little bit. So most of VeChain Thor's transactions, as he said, come from enterprise level developers. And he believes that enterprises also consider business developers, which contribute even more valuable transactions or batch valuable transactions. For example, Deloitte Labs in Dublin, they have around 20 to 30 developers building different applications for different enterprises on VeChain right now, not mentioning DNVGL or PwC or any other enterprise users. So I agree with him. Your biggest return on investment is going to come from these enterprise level developers doing things, because then they are applying it not just to one user like when we buy into VeChain Thor and stake it. They're doing it for companies. They're doing it for industries. That's a really good way for VeChain to just explode in the space. And I think honestly it's right. It's his best move on this one. So definitely something to continue to watch. VeChain, I don't know if it's this website I'm using or what, but I feel like I'm talking about VeChain almost on the daily now. So for those of you who are big VeChain fans, good. If I'm talking about it daily, it means it's trending daily. It means something good is happening for him. So, but let's jump over to article number 3. So Abra, apparently, for those of you who don't know, it's behind the global crypto and fiat wallet and exchange app of the same name. I've heard good things about it. Do not use it. No real reason, just haven't gotten into it yet. But they're planning to give the world's banking services underpinned by Stellar's blockchain banking solutions. So they're looking to build banking solutions on the Stellar blockchain. So this would allow so good for them. So this would allow a lot of stuff for them. Alrighty, so during SDF's digital, so SDF is the Stellar Development Foundation. They recently dumped about $5 million into Abra earlier this year. So during SDF's digital second quarter review meeting on the 15th of this month, Abra CEO Bill Barhyde mentioned Abra's focus on upcoming banking type features the company is building out. In particular, he noted an interest earning capability expected to hit the market in the coming weeks. I smell that DeFi. Alrighty, this allows customers, for example, for people who aren't even familiar with cryptocurrency, to store dollars and earn significant interest upon them. He also said in the meeting, elaborating on the upcoming interest-related featured, he also included the availability of same interest-generating functions for crypto holders as well as staking functionalities. Ooh boy. So yeah, looks like it was in May in 2020 that the SDF gave Abra this $5 million. So in light of the investment, Abra expressed plans to work with Stellar's blockchain. For us to take this to another level, Abra is building an entirely new part of our business in order to facilitate the movement of funds globally in real time using the Stellar network. Good for him. So DeFi solutions show one current avenue for crypto lending and interest earning potential. We want to take this to another level and use the Stellar platform to truly enable traditional banking applications at a global scale. I am really excited for Abra, and I'm really excited for Stellar. I've heard a lot of criticism about Stellar being a dead blockchain. No one really uses it, blah, 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 blah. And then surprisingly, Stellar's had a couple of good hits in the past week or so. It's definitely going to be something for us to watch. And it's definitely going to be something for us to watch in regards to Abra. I do really like Abra overall from what I've heard of it. You guys feel free to disagree with me down in the comments because, as I've said before, I've never even downloaded the app. So I cannot say anything about user experience or anything like that. I just know what I've heard in different cryptocurrency articles and comment sections is Abra's a pretty okay thing. So good for both of them. And all we can do, again, is see where this goes. Hopefully we'll see some development here, early next year if they're investing just now. But it could be that, Abra was already building these things prior to Stellar, and Stellar's given them a cash injection so they can focus in on just the Stellar blockchain and potentially bring a quicker turnaround time. Who knows? We'll see. So, hey, let's jump over. Articles 4 and 5 are along the same theme, but Ethereum is approaching a technical limit. Oh, yeah. Their transaction volume on ETH has increased the highest level since 2018's all-time highs. ICO promises have been replaced by DeFi yields. But the spike in transactions threatens to slow down the network if Ethereum 2.0 can't increase throughput. So yeah, the transaction record, early 2018, height of the ICO craze, it fell to an average of less than half its peak for the next 2 years before steadily increasing again in early 2020. This has, as many of you know, caused gas prices to increase, which are making it more difficult than ever to interact with dApps. Ethereum 2.0 and the promised transaction throughput increases cannot arrive soon enough. Honestly, they should have been here about, a year, 2 years ago now, but I'm not going to get into that. We need to speed up Ethereum, so yeah. But now, instead of ICOs, it's DeFi use cases that are pushing up transaction volumes. Each interaction with DeFi protocols require one or more transactions to be broadcast on the Ethereum blockchain. And then introducing yield farming has come about, a perfect storm forming of increased activity due to both organic growth in users taking advantage of favorable lending and borrowing rates and induced demand stemming from the desire to accumulate participation rewards. Yeah, DeFi is a booming. Ethereum is a booming because of it, and the strain on the network is apparent. Multiple times, Vitalik has said 2020. One guy said maybe 2021, and Vitalik got all mad at him, and now that guy's back to saying 2020. So I'm hoping Ethereum announces something soon, like very soon, for DeFi to really go to the next level. I think we do need Ethereum 2.0. Otherwise, these projects are going to end up slowly but surely migrating to other blockchains. As we saw, Tron's talking about getting into it, because of course they are. Cardano, once they enable Goguen and can do smart contracts, will probably be jumping right into it. Kyber Network's in it, and all these different things, so just, they gotta be careful. But yeah, no, not just talking about the highs on Ethereum, we also gotta talk about who's actually using DeFi right now. That'd be article number 5. This new report shines a new light on things. So the report came out by CodeFi, which is a subsidiary of the Ethereum software development firm Consensus. It shines a light on how many unique users are leveraging these and other DeFi services, even as the value locked in DeFi applications has nearly tripled from April. The report concludes most of the DeFi activity isn't coming from new users. So yeah, they analyzed 79,648 addresses that interacted with the DeFi smart contract in Q2 of 2020. Ethereum surpassed 100 million unique addresses in June of 2020, and active address usage is up 118% since the beginning of the year. Woo. So, according to the report, out of all the users who have deposited some 1.2 billion worth of Ethereum-based tokens into DeFi applications and Ethereum itself, only 1,884 of these had sent 100 transactions or more over the course of the quarter. So what that tells them is, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah. So yeah, the majority of DeFi users remain loyal to one platform. But yeah, most people who use DeFi, looks like they're just kind of sticking their toes in the water, doing a couple different transactions, versus these super users, which had a higher proportion of users who interacted with at least 2 or 3 different DeFi protocols. So you get your average guy who's kind of like dipping his toes in the water. Maybe he'll put it on Kyber. Maybe he'll put it on Comp. And he'll try out a couple different things. And he's kind of okay with that. Too many transactions is going to cut into his profits. Then you have these super users who were probably mini whales before this anyways. And they're leveraging the heck out of everything. So yeah. But yeah, much of the ramped up activity based on what this report found, came from users who are already in the ecosystem. So, some people are touching their toes in the water. The people who are in there and comfortable are just, swimming laps around them. So the solution then, the report's author is suggesting, is to focus on design, user experience, and education. So less DeFi run the risk of growing in a bubble, and instead of expanding beyond that. I wholeheartedly agree with them. I watched a couple DeFi tutorials on YouTube, and they are complex. So being able to focus in on the user experience, make it easier and easier for people off the street like me to get in and like use it and not have to watch a 20-minute long YouTube video and leave it going, I'm not sure, is going to be something this space really, really, really needs to do to grow. So hopefully we'll see the different projects starting to hone in on that here very soon. But alrighty, we are already halfway there. Seems like we just got started. Stand up. Take a stretch, much like I'm going to need to. And let's jump into the back five. Alrighty, well then hopping over to number 6. Now the stretches are over. Grayscale. They haven't bought a Bitcoin in over 3 weeks. You alright over there, little buddy? Huh? You okay? So given the rate they're usually buying Bitcoin, it seems like the cryptocurrency fund management company was trying to buy up every single Bitcoin in existence. Yeah, for every one Bitcoin mined, they were buying 1.5. So, yeah. So this pattern ground to a halt more than 3 weeks ago and hasn't picked up since. So the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust Fund would typically file a Form 8-K with the SEC on a weekly basis, declaring its latest Bitcoin acquisitions, but they haven't filed a report since June 25th. They were asked about it, and they said there was an administrative quiet period for the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust private placement. The trust is now open for subscriptions as of Friday, July 10th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. In any case, they've not issued any SEC disclosures about the new Bitcoin acquisition since then. Last time they filed a report was June the 25th, so that would have been a Thursday. So if they open it back up on the 10th, if they open it up on the evening of the 10th, they might not have had any transactions because the 10th of July was a Friday. So we'll probably get the next report on July the 23rd if it truly is just an administrative quiet period. So they are a very, very institutional investor. So it is important to note they're not a hedge fund that buys assets on the expectation of profiting them. Instead, it buys Bitcoin whenever investors buy its shares, and currently each share corresponds to 95,891 Satoshis. In the second quarter, 84% of the investments into Grayscale came from the institutional investors, mostly hedge funds. So hedge funds are buying Grayscale. Grayscale is not a hedge fund itself. So there are several couple kind of explanations to why there's a sudden pullback. If it is really true and they just had some administrative stuff they needed to do, it is possible, though 3 weeks is kind of pushing it in my mind, but honestly, you never know. They could have had some government issues that they're keeping quiet. But yeah, there's a couple different explanations. One is seasonal. July is a slow time for investment activity. Many asset managers travel or take vacations. Another reason could be that Bitcoin hasn't really done much in the last few months. As we all in this space well know, it hasn't moved out of the low 9,000s really in a while, which is both good and bad. It's good that it's stable. It's good that it hasn't dropped into the 6, 5, or 4K range, but yeah, I think all of us are kind of like, come on, do something. We're falling asleep. But yeah, we'll got to keep an eye on old Grayscale over here. Since they were such a huge player in the industry, if they start selling off this Bitcoin they buyed up, that could trigger a pretty big dump. And if they don't start buying up stuff, that will also increase the supply level of Bitcoin out there, which could also lead to a price decrease. Or it could lead to nothing. Honestly, who knows at this point, because the world doesn't make any sense. Alrighty, jumping on over. Next article, let's talk about IOTA. Just a little quick one. So they published on Medium. A developer, Olaf Newberger, he published details on building a smart pump prototype to improve water distribution in conflict zones that uses IOTA's Tangle technology to secure data and monitor water distribution. To those of you wondering why. So according to the publication, Com2M developed the prototype of a water pump with the features applicable to conflict zones. In these areas, the distribution of water is more complicated than sending it from point A to point B. In many areas, it's necessary to manage data, but without the intervention of the parties involved in the conflict, who may falsify or use that information to their advantage. Hey, they're stopping us from getting any water, and using that as propaganda, having it on the immutable blockchain saying, no, they're letting you get your water. Calm down. Would be good. So, unlike other blockchains such as Bitcoin, oh boy, and Ethereum, said Neugebauer, IOTA's distributed ledger technology allows individual transactions to be stored on its platform. This is more convenient for monitoring work than storing transactions in blocks, as is the case with the classic blockchains. Therefore, the development of the prototype is more efficient, and that's really all he's trying to do. They got a couple pictures of it down here. Pretty interesting. They're using a Raspberry Pi with it, so it's pretty low cost, low profile type of setup. It's interesting. Again, this is just another cool example of real world applications. Is it crazy newsworthy? I don't really think so, but it was at the top of this website, and it's Crypto Newsflash, so they're the ones talking about it. What do I know? But no, it is really good for IOTA as a project, and just any of these coins, they have more and more real-world use cases, so I really can't fault them, and it's great to see someone else using blockchain to help us in the real world. All right, jumping on over to number 8. Oh yeah, Twitter is restricting the sharing of Bitcoin and crypto wallet addresses. For those of you who just have not been paying attention to the news, there was a massive Twitter hack. The users themselves weren't hacked, but they managed to get some information of some high-level Twitter employee or employees. We are not sure. But as a result of it, Twitter is now restricting the sharing of cryptocurrency addresses on its platform. I mean, I don't blame them, really. Honestly, like, eliminating that is probably the best way to go. YouTube's struggling with this as well. I saw another scam stream as I was booting everything up this morning. It's nuts. It's never ending. But yeah, no, so the wallet used in the Bitcoin scam received more than 400 Bitcoin transactions, adding up to a total cash value of $121,000 at the time of this article being published. In response to the incident, Twitter initially disabled the resetting of passwords and blocked some accounts from posting tweets. Basically, they scrambled. So, yeah. Because of this, Whale Alert bot can no longer post any transfers, and we cannot manually add them either. We hope Twitter will resolve the issue soon. I do understand that they probably don't want random accounts tweeting out cryptocurrency addresses, but maybe certain applications like Whale Alert bot can apply to get some sort of special standing with them, so that way they can do that, since what they're trying to post is informative. Or maybe Whale Alert might have to adjust, and they can post the details of the transactions, but not the addresses themselves, and then include a link that will take you to the Whale Alert bot website. But again, then they'll have to pay and maintain for their own website, so I don't know how feasible that is. But yeah, the fallout from this continues. I expect it's going to be popping up in our conversations, probably for the next month or so. But hey, good news, crypto analysts adjust a $100,000 Bitcoin forecast as Bitcoin approaches the business end of a long-term triangle. So this guy, who accurately predicted Bitcoin's retracement last year, has updated his roadmap of Bitcoin's ascent to $100,000 as the king of cryptocurrencies approaches the apex of a long-term triangle. He states, with momentum and volatility flatlining as the price coils within the business end of the triangle, a picture of diminishing returns / price discovery, if there ever was one, based on what the price is actually doing, not what it ought to do, is shaping up nicely for the move going forward. Basically, he's saying this tightening trading range and dying momentum that suggests that a violent move is on the horizon as the dominant crypto approaches the end of this triangle. He says that once volatility in turn returns, he expects Bitcoin to go through a significant correction. He's talking pretty massive pullback. But once it's over, he sees Bitcoin eventually breaking out of the long-term triangle. He says Bitcoin will recover its all-time high of 2020 next year before igniting a manic phase that would send the top crypto above 100K before 2022 expires. Oh boy, I sure hope so. But all these technical analysis things, you can't take into account the craziness of the real world. Based on the information we know now, Bitcoin's volatility is crapping out, and we're probably going to see a decline. Do not understand why, but that's what the data is telling him at this point. But if circumstances in the world change, the data could change. So, all right, so that brings us to our last little thing I want to talk about. It's just a nice little funny thing. So, old Elon Musk posted a sarcastic tweet about Dogecoin. It's not the first time he's trolled the crypto and Bitcoin communities with humorous remarks. He simply tweeted out, "It's inevitable," with a picture of a dust cloud that's got the Dogecoin dog face chopped onto it that says Dogecoin standard overtaking a town, which is the global financial system. That's funny. Someone tweeted at him asking for their lost Bitcoin back, and Musk responded, "Excuse me, I only sell Doge." After this viral tweet, Dogecoin jumped up about 14%. We can't say for absolute certain that this was a result of his tweet. Doge is pretty low liquidity, so it can be vulnerable to short-term pump and dumps. But old Dogecoin, old Elon Musk, is just having a little bit of fun out there because he's a freaking billionaire, so it doesn't matter to him. Like, life is literally a game that he got the God mode cheat code for. That's all this is to him. But yeah. That takes me through the top 10 trending articles. Once again, thank you to all those who have subscribed, commented, come out and all that stuff. It really does help me. It really does help this channel and this, kind of business type thing I'm trying to build with this, or just a hobby. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, so as far as top 10 coins by market cap, again, not a lot of positive for you today. Ethereum's pretty flat. Bitcoin's pretty flat. Cardano's down by 3.25%. Chainlink's down by 6.25%, and Binance Coin's down by 1.5%. Everyone else is in the green, but less than 1% up. Well, that's not a stable coin. Can we just not ever talk about Tether? Crypto.com coin also up pretty low. Let's see what else is going on. VeChain's still sitting at number 10. Tron's popping up and down the thing. Stellar, for announcing all these things, and Abra is down about 5%. So we'll just have to see where this week goes. There's a lot going on in the world right now, especially in the United States. And depending on how this next week unfolds is honestly gonna really show where the market is gonna be in the mid-term. Short term and mid-term. So nothing to it but to live through it. So you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll be back to talk to you tomorrow. Peace.